Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dale and today we're going to talk about the OEM M3 side mirror retrofit. Now over right here we have two completed retro M3 side mirror that is specifically retrofitted and modified for the E46 sedan. Now I put a lot of blood, sweat and tears onto modifying this, refinishing this, and of course assembling and disassembling this. Now of course these are not painted professionally. This was a DIY project that I myself wanted to tag along. This was low-key a passion project for me and I learned and had a lot of fun. Now of course I want to show you and provide you the necessary instructions and details on how you can tackle this project and complete this DIY. So with that out of the way, let's head into my office so that I can give you a proper breakdown. Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to my office. Now, it's getting a little cloudy and rainy out there, so I decided to move the party over here. Now, of course, breaking down the OEM M3 retrofit, disassembly, and assembly, it took a lot of work. Now, just a little backstory, I picked these M3 mirrors back in the winter season over on the Facebook Marketplace. I think back then I purchased this set for roughly around $200 Canadian, which in my opinion was a steal. When I picked these up, I would say the condition of it was around 7 out of 10, maybe even a 6.5. I say that because one of the aluminum base plates for the mirrors was slightly corroded and needed some TLC. But on top of my mind, I knew this was fixable prior to purchasing with a few simple steps. Now, before we get into how you would retrofit this onto the sedan, I want to give a huge shout out to Charlie. He not only helped me a lot during this DIY, but he wrote up a DIY over in zhpmafia.com. He also provided me with a aluminium base plate for me to work off of and take example of. And on top of that, he provided me with the 3D custom printed base plate, which I will get into what those are in a sec. Now hopping back onto the mirrors. Now the rest of the mirrors was, in my opinion, in good shape. It was plastic dip in black and it was taken care of. There wasn't any red flags, there wasn't any peeling, there wasn't any scratches or chips or damages. So if you want to modify the M3 mirrors to fit your sedan, here are 5 things that you need to do for this retrofit. Number 5 is disassembling the mirror itself. Now some of the tools that you will be using are torque screwdrivers, a pin to de-pin the wires from the plastic housing, and a standard Phillips head. A tip that I want to pass on to you is when you're disassembling the M3 mirrors, make sure you're super patient with it. In the time when I was disassembling mine, I misplaced some screws and later on found it. But before I even found it, I tried to replace those missing screws with some generic screws that I found at a hardware store that doesn't even fit. And on top of that, I was a little violent and hasty while de-pinning the wires from the plastic housing. I not only broke one of them, but I had to outsource the work to make sure I get it resoldered and refreshed with a new pin head. Now, of course, once you have this all set and done, you have a few pieces that you would want to refinish. Which leads me to point number 4. Now, the refinishing of the plastic caps of the mirrors and the aluminum base plate can be quite challenging. I had 2 roads to take. I could either take the high road and hand it to a professional painter. I think if I took this route, it would cost me around maybe $200 to $300 more or less, depending on the quality of paint that you want. And on the other hand was a passion project, which means a DIY. Now, of course, being a DIYer myself, I really want to tackle this challenge and see how far I can take this and learn a thing or two along the way. Now, I'm not going to give you a full detailed breakdown on what you need to do to refinish this. There are plenty of videos out there on YouTube, but here's a SparksNote version of it. First off, of course, is sanding. Starting off with a very rough sandpaper, you need to sand down and make sure that all the paint and corroded surfaces are all gone. Next, of course, you need to go on and refine it with a higher sandpaper quality, meaning you're going to lean in towards the 600s, 800s, 1000 grit, and maybe even 2000. Some other products that I use was a degreaser. I use this because I need to make sure that there's no other remaining products on it, such as wax, such as any like car shampoos or any other solutions that you do not want. Moving down the line, you have to prime the mirrors once you're done sanding. Now I used a self-etching primer for the aluminum base plate and a standard primer for the M3 mirror caps. Now once you coated it with at least 2 coats of primer, you are ready for the next stage, which is paint. The paint brand that I went was Dupli Color. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but based on the community forums that I was reading this up on, the titanium silver color that this company produces is best matched for titanium silver. And for the base plate itself, I decided to finish it with a gloss black finish. Now of course you can lean towards the OEM M3 Pierce look and finish this in silver as well, but I wanted to stay true to my sedan roots and finish it in gloss black. Last but not least, to finish off the painting process, you want to apply a clear coat of choice. Once again, don't take these painting steps as the Bible. I definitely super simplify this process, and in my opinion, it's not the professional way of doing it. Next up, number 3 is modifying the aluminum base plate. Now, in order for this mirror housing to sit flush with your door, you will need to trim the mirror base plate ever so slightly so that it sits a little more close to the door edges. Now, I'm going to post a link down in the comment section below on how this will look like, but Rogue Engineering did a super fantastic job on a picture tutorial. And of course, if you are super new to cutting aluminum, make sure you find a buddy or even outsource this work so that you don't get hurt. Number 2 is of course reassembly. Now, during the time when I was reassembling everything, I can't stress this enough, you need to make sure that you have all the screws in the right place and never to misplace them. While I was reassembling my mirrors, I made a huge mistake and I tried to reapply one of the screws into a slot that wasn't even supposed to go in there. And what ended up happening was I popped the head off of the screw and now it's just stuck there forever. But with that aside, make sure you take your old existing stock sedan actuators and transfer it over to your M3 shell. You do this because the M3 motors itself cannot communicate with your sedan, so you need to take your sedan actuators and install them in the mirror caps. Which leads me to the next custom fabricated mod that you need, which is the 3D printed base plate. Now, if you don't have a supplier that can supply you with a 3D printed base plate, you could definitely just cut this out of plastic yourself. I'm gonna throw the screenshot around here somewhere or even drop a link so that you could take note of it. Now with this 3D printed base plate, this will sit on the M3 backing plate, which also you need to trim the 3 poles that's on it due to the fact that you want the mirror actuator to sit as low as you can so that when the mirror glass itself gets reinstalled, it's not sticking out of the mirror housing. And last but not least, when you are finished reassembling the mirrors, you will definitely need to retrofit this onto the door itself. Now, upon inspecting your current M3 mirrors compared to your stock sedan mirrors, you will notice that the M3 aluminum base plate has 4 slotted holes compared to your standard 2, which leads me to the next item that you need to purchase, which is a set of 4 M6 10mm hex head with a length of 20 millimeters, and of course along with washers. I read on the forums that the M6 bolts will hold better than the standard torque screw, so I went ahead and went to my local hardware store and picked up a set of M6 bolts. Next, you're gonna need to drill 2 new holes onto the side mirror plates. I'm gonna throw a screenshot again somewhere along the screen or even throw a link down below, but in order for you to be accurate on this, people often make a template out of cardboard. When this is all said and done, you just need to drill the 2 holes and install the mirrors, screw in your M6 bolts, and you are set. So obviously, to wrap up this retrofit is for me to install these M3 mirrors. Now I'm currently just waiting for a better sunny day so that I could take the car out without having any rain issues. So there you have it, guys. These were some of the steps that you need to take to retrofit the OEM M3 mirrors onto your E46 sedan. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this video, and if I missed any crucial steps. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and sub to my channel. It really helps me in the long run. But until then, see you next time.